the other day asking me how I left the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, it wasn't why I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, but they asked me specifically how I left the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I know as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, and especially one who was raised in the organization, one of the most agonizing decisions, and one of the things that you sweat most, is how you're going to tell your parents you're going to leave the organization, that you no longer want to be a Jehovah's Witness. And since the message intrigued me, I decided, hey, maybe I should make a video telling people how I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, not just why I left the Jehovah's Witnesses. Everybody thinks that when you leave the organization, you're going to have this knockdown, drag-out fight with your parents, and they're going to kick you out of your house or something like that. I think I avoided that specifically with the way that I left the Jehovah's Witnesses, so I figured I'd make this video and tell you how. Now, it turned out to be a 3-phase plan. Wasn't necessarily something I planned except for the last part. So, first things first, if you have questions about Jehovah's Witnesses, about the religion, don't hide them. Go to your parents and ask them every question you have. I figured just coming out of the blue and saying I don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness would bring about a knockdown, drag-out fight. So I just asked every question that I could. Now, I knew that starting a fight every week about a question wasn't going to be the best thing, so what I did is I would ask a question, I would ask about 2 follow-ups to it, and I would drop it. I would just leave it there, and I would usually leave it at the point where they would say, okay, well, we're going to have to research this further, and from there, then we'll find your answer. And you know, parents, whenever someone can't find the answer to something, they say, oh, let me research that and get back to you, and they never get back to you. So that was basically it, and I did that for about 6 months. I was 9th grade in high school, so like I was 14-ish, just about 14, when I would ask questions for about 6 months and just drop them. You want to put it in their head first that, look, you're having questions, and they might even offer you study with someone else, and you know, hey, take them up if they decide to. You never know. You might have doubts right now that you think are doubts, and when you go to your parents or you go to a different study, they may be able to answer your questions, and you'll find that Jehovah's Witnesses are the right fit for you. Might not be the case. Alright, so phase 2 of my plan is actually telling my parents that I didn't want to go to meetings anymore. I picked the phrase, I prefer not to go to the meetings. What I did beforehand is, because I knew they'd question me as to why I'm doing that, so I picked 2 issues that I wasn't sure of. And not necessarily I wasn't sure of. I mean, I did a lot of research. I knew these issues weren't something that was going to go away, no matter how much studying I did. So my 2 issues I picked was 607 BCE. The second one was interpretation of the Bible. I basically said that no matter how much you study, no matter how much context you get into, you're never going to be 100% sure of your interpretation of the Bible being 100%, you know, accurate, for sure, no questions about it, that your interpretation is correct. So I specifically picked a night that it was our study night. It was after our study. We just regurgitated a bunch of stuff, and I told my mom, like, look, Mom, you know, I'd rather not go to the meetings. And she was, you know, she wasn't as thrown back because I'd been asking questions for quite some time. So she knew I had doubts because of the questions I was asking, and because the questions I was asking didn't exactly have straight answers. Mom, I'd really prefer not to go to meetings. She said, what are you talking about? You have to go to meetings. And I said, look, it's just not enough for me. I don't believe it anymore. So I said I left it open-ended. I went over my 2 points. I said, you know, look, 607 BCE, Jerusalem didn't fall that day. We can look it up in encyclopedias, and we went over the Bible, and that's where my second point hit. I said, look, no matter what the interpretation is, you know, how you know it's right, it's not 100% accurate, there's no possible way to know that. Well, no, you're going to meetings. And I said, all right, you know what, it's your house and it's your rules. Just remember, this is something that you can say. So this is, hey, it's your house, it's your rules, I respect your decision. If it is that important to you that I go to meetings, even though I don't believe anything, then by all means, I'll go to the meetings. But understand something here: I'm not a liar and I'm not a hypocrite. So if someone asks me if it's the truth, I'm gonna tell them what I believe. I'd rather not be in the theocratic ministry school. I'd rather not hand out microphones. I'd rather not go out to service either, because I just can't go door to door slinging stuff that I don't believe. And they wouldn't budge on that. No, you have to give talks. You've been giving talks, and your talks are really good, so you have to give talks, and you have to go out in service. That's a requirement. So I just relented. I said, look, it's your house, your rules. I'll do what you tell me. But again, I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite. So whatever talks I give are going to be on my beliefs. When I go out in service, it's going to be on my beliefs. I'm not going to just give information. I'm not going to teach one thing and believe another. It's not something in my mentality. It's not something I can do. I relented 3 things. I said I'd go to meetings, I'd go out in service, and do all my duties. And I promised them. I said, look, I'm not going to go up to people and tell them I don't believe this is the truth, and I'm not going to tell them why I don't believe it's the truth, if it's that important to you. So they basically agreed to that. They said that's it's fine that I don't believe it's the truth. Maybe through going to meetings and studying, I would somehow come back and say, oh, I believe this now. I'll continue doing everything. It's going to be tough. So I was 15, and I did that for 4 years, basically right through high school into college. I went to meetings. I was giving talks. Giving talks was so hard. Around 16, I was realized that I was an atheist. And as an atheist who thought the God of the Bible was a terrible, horrible God, I had to give a talk on Jephthah's daughter. I'm reading the Bible. I'm like, all right, Jephthah's daughter, burnt offering. I'm like, God, he done killed that bitch. God knew she was gonna come out. He done killed that bitch. He done killed that bitch bad. I had to give a talk, and my talk, I swear, I couldn't even come up with stuff to justify it. I couldn't come up with anything. I read the Bible reading. I read it really slow because you had to milk it 5 minutes, right? So I read it super slow, and my closer was like, God is awesome. God's awesome. I didn't say exactly, God is awesome with the thumbs up, but I was like, God is a wonderful, loving God, as we can see in here. He delivered the Israelites from... it was so hard. It was so hard. My high school years, I do not look back on very fondly, because I literally had to tap dance around stuff. Out in service was actually my most fun time, because if someone asked me a question, I would just answer them, and half the time I would get the person with me what is he talking about? And I would just, I don't believe this, and blah blah blah, and I would just talk about whatever suited me, what I believed. And what was funny is I had a 50-50 shot of who I was working with, either agreeing with me, things that are exact opposite, what I'm saying, we don't know if Jesus died on a stake or a cross. I mean, there wasn't anyone taking pictures, so how are we gonna know? And the person next to me was like, we don't know. That was the hardest time of my life.
Power, love, is a curious thing. Make a woman weep, make another man sing. Change your heart to a little white dove.